Listen carefully because I'm about to hand you the darkest trick men use to attract women, and if you misuse it, you'll burn everything down. The trick is not a line, not a gift, not a be yourself platitude. It's a system. It flips the axis of approval, creates polarity on command, and forces emotional investment without you ever begging for it. Here's the golden rule you tattoo on your mind. Friendship happens when two similar people meet. Attraction happens when opposites collide. Your job is to create polarity and then feed it with controlled scarcity. Do not try to win her approval. Make her work for yours. That is the trick. You are the positive pole. She is the negative. The charge only flows when the poles are different, when your presence is decisive and your approval is expensive. If you behave like her, feel like her, explain like her, you become the same pole. No current, no heat, no attraction. Start by killing the most common weakness in men, neediness dressed up as kindness. Neediness is asking for permission to be yourself. It's narrating every thought hoping she claps. It's texting, "Good morning," every day just so she doesn't forget you exist. It's changing your schedule to make it work for her. When you do that, you flip the poles, you hand her the positive charge, and you become the one chasing, the one proving, the one qualifying yourself. In other words, you make her the prize, and you become the beggar. The darkest trick is reversing this before it even begins. The moment you meet her, she must feel that you already have a full life, full standards, and full options, and that her job is to prove she belongs in it. That's not arrogance, that's polarity. So how do you build it? The first lever is selective approval. Most men give it away like candy on Halloween. She posts a selfie, they like it. She tells a story, they praise it. She breathes, they thank her. You must become allergic to this behavior. Praise becomes powerful only when it's rare. When you stop automatically validating her, two things happen. First, her instincts flare up. Why isn't he responding like every other man? What does he see that I'm missing? Second, she starts competing for your attention without realizing it. She will change her tone, her energy, even her style to hit the invisible target you've set. The second lever is decisive leadership. This is not the cartoon version of alpha male barking orders. It's simply being the man who knows where he's going and is unshakable in his direction. Women test decisiveness the way they test the strength of a chair before sitting on it. If you wobble once, they never trust it again. That's why your yes is yes, and your no is no. You pick the time. You pick the place, you pick the pace, not to dominate her, but to relieve her of the burden of leading. She cannot be both feminine and steering the ship. She either relaxes into your lead, or she starts treating you like luggage she has to carry. The third lever is emotional disruption. If she can predict exactly how you'll respond, her mind goes to sleep, and a sleeping mind doesn't fall in love. That's why controlled disruption, breaking her emotional rhythm, is one of the most dangerous tools you can wield. You're not manipulating her into chaos. You're reminding her you're alive, unpredictable, and not hers yet. One night you're warm, engaged, laughing with her. The next day, you're busy, unavailable, answering in short sentences. Then you return, fully present again. Her nervous system can't settle, and that's where attraction hides. It's not cruelty, it's contrast. The fourth lever is absence at the peak. Most men stay too long. They keep talking when the energy is high, keep texting when she's laughing, keep dating until the spark dulls. The darkest trick is walking away when her emotions are at their peak, leaving the movie unfinished. Her mind will replay the moment 1,000 times, filling the gaps with fantasies that make you larger than life. This is not game playing, this is the psychology of attachment. People don't fall for you in the moment, they fall in the replay. The kiss isn't where love happens. It's the night she can't sleep after, wondering why you haven't called. And that's the skeleton of the trick. Selective approval, decisive leadership, emotional disruption, and absence at the peak. Together, they make you the positive pole, they put her in the negative, and the current of attraction flows. But knowing the structure isn't enough. You need to live it so deeply, it leaks from every word, every glance, every silence. That's what we're going to break down next. Exactly how to execute each lever without crossing into the needy, creepy, or fake territory that kills it instantly. The first lever, selective approval, requires discipline most men don't have. They think discipline is lifting weights or grinding at work, but the real test is sitting across from a beautiful woman, feeling every nerve in your body beg you to compliment her, and holding the line, because here's the truth, she's heard it all before. Her beauty has been worshipped since she was 15. She's been told she's gorgeous by men who would sell their souls just to hold her hand. Your compliment doesn't land because it's not rare, it's spam. So instead of giving what she expects, you give what she feels. That means you notice the detail no one else sees. The curve of her smirk when she's plotting something. the way she stirs her drink clockwise instead of counterclockwise. You drop these observations in passing, not as gifts but as facts. And here's the catch. You don't do it every time. Let her fish for it. Let her try different bait. Let her wear the dress she thinks you'll like and wonder why you didn't mention it. This gap between her effort and your approval is where her investment is born. Now, the second lever, decisive leadership. Decisiveness isn't loud. It isn't aggressive. It's silent confidence in motion. When you make a plan, you state it as if it's already happening. We're meeting at 7. I'll send you the spot. You don't add, if that's okay with you. You don't wait for her to approve. You give her the comfort of following a man who knows where he's going. And when she tests you, and she will, you don't fold. She says, let's go somewhere else instead. You say, you'll like this place. Trust me. And you keep walking. This isn't about control. It's about creating a frame where she can relax into her role when she's in her feminine. You're in your masculine, and that polarity is the power source of attraction. The third lever, emotional disruption, is the most misunderstood. Weak men hear it and think it means play games or be a jerk. That's amateur hour. Emotional disruption is about breaking patterns that lead to boredom. If every date is dinner and polite conversation, you're killing attraction with routine. Instead, you mix it. One date, you're dressed sharp, taking her to an art gallery, explaining why a certain painting feels like violence. The next, you're in a hoodie, grabbing street food, sitting on the hood of your car, talking about the dumbest thing you did in school. She can't lock you into a box because every time she tries, you shift. You're not the serious guy or the fun guy. You're the man she hasn't figured out yet. And people obsess over mysteries far longer than they obsess over answers. Then we come to the most dangerous lever, absence at the peak. If you only master this one, you can keep a woman hooked for months without lifting another finger. You wait for the high point. The moment she's laughing with her whole body, or leaning into you, or holding your hand like she's afraid to lose it. That's when you leave. Not rudely, not abruptly, but with purpose. You stand up, you say, I've got to run, but we'll pick this up. You let the goodbye hang in the air like an unfinished song. Her brain hates unfinished songs. It will replay them until it drives itself crazy. That's where you live now. In her loop, in her rewinds, in her, what did he mean by that? The rookie mistake is thinking you have to maintain her attention every second to keep her. The pro move is knowing she falls deeper for you when you're not there, because that's when her imagination edits the story, scrubs out your flaws, and paints you as the man she's been waiting for. And here's where the darkness comes in. You're not forcing any of this. You're not begging, lying, or overcompensating. You're simply positioning yourself in a way that makes her instincts work for you, instead of against you. Most men fight uphill. They push, chase, and convince. You let gravity pull her toward you because you've placed yourself above her in the dynamic without ever saying it out loud. The darkest trick isn't something you do to her. It's the man you become that she can't help reacting to. But here's the warning. Misuse it and you'll create obsession without foundation. She'll crave you but resent you. She'll want you but not trust you. This only works long term if you have substance behind the smoke. Layering the levers is where the real danger and the real magic happens. Most men treat attraction tools like random spices. Throw one here, sprinkle another there, and hope it tastes good. The masters build a recipe where every ingredient strengthens the others. Here's the sequence: selective approval, decisive leadership, emotional disruption, absence at the peak, and then back to selective approval. A loop, an ecosystem. Once it's running, it feeds itself. You start with selective approval to signal rarity. She feels the gap between her effort and your reward. That subtle gap is tension, and tension is the raw material of attraction. Then, right when she's leaning forward for more, you show decisive leadership. You set the pace, set the plan, and watch her fall into rhythm with you. That shift, from her trying to impress you to her following your lead, deepens the polarity. Once she's comfortable in that rhythm, you disrupt it. Switch the vibe, change the location, throw her into a new emotional state, take her somewhere you haven't mentioned. Bring her into a situation where she sees a side of you she hasn't catalogued yet. Her brain starts collecting puzzle pieces without knowing what the picture will be. And right when curiosity spikes, you're gone. Absence at the peak. Leave her in the middle of the movie, not at the credits. She's not ready for the ending, so her mind invents one, and she'll replay that invented ending. All night. Maybe all week. Here's why this loop works. The gap you create with selective approval makes her invest. Her investment makes your leadership feel earned. Your leadership makes disruption safe instead of chaotic. Disruption raises the emotional stakes. And the peak, absence burns that emotional high into her memory. When you return, she's already halfway back at selective approval without you lifting a finger. This is how a woman starts chasing without realizing she's chasing. She'll text first. She'll suggest plans. She'll dress differently. She'll angle conversations to see if she can pull more from you. And here's the part that most men screw up. When she does, you still don't flood her with validation. You give just enough to keep her moving forward. Because here's the truth. The chase is the attraction. Once she's certain she has you, the game ends. Not because she's cruel or fickle, but because human desire thrives on motion, not completion. Now, let's talk about control, not over her, but over yourself. This trick is worthless if you can't control your own emotional impulses. If you break the loop because you're desperate for her to know how you feel, you've killed it. If you lash out when she tests you, you've reversed the poles and handed her the power. Every test she gives you is an invitation to reinforce the frame. She flirts with another guy in front of you. You don't bite. She makes a sarcastic jab. You smirk and change the subject. She goes cold for a day. You stay on your path, your schedule, your priority. This is the unspoken foundation under the darkest trick, emotional self-possession. Without it, selective approval turns into bitterness, leadership turns into control, disruption turns into drama, and absence turns into ghosting. With it, every move reads as intentional. And understand, this isn't a one-size-fits-all pattern. Different women will respond at different speeds. Some will start chasing after one loop, others will need weeks. But the principle never changes. Your value isn't in how much you give her, it's in how much she has to earn. The men who fail are the ones who treat attraction like charity, handouts until she notices. The men who win make her work for every step. Not because they're cruel, but because they understand the psychology that runs deeper than logic. That's the darkness here. This isn't magic. It's not a trick of words or fake behaviors. It's the structure of desire itself. You didn't invent it. You're just finally using it instead of fighting it. And when you use it right, she won't just want you, she'll need you, because she'll have built a story in her mind where you are the prize, the standard, the man she had to climb to reach. And people never let go of the things they had to climb for. The mindset that makes this permanent is simple to describe and brutally hard to master. You must believe, down to your bones, that your life is already full without her. Because here's the catch, if you secretly believe she's the upgrade, if you deep down think you're lucky to have her attention, then every lever I've taught you will eventually snap. She'll feel the neediness bleeding through the cracks. She'll sense that your selective approval is just delayed desperation, that your leadership is an act, that your absence is a stunt. But when you truly believe you're the prize, not in the Instagram, quote, puff your chest way, but in the grounded, I've built my life way, everything changes. Your selective approval stops being a tactic and becomes natural discernment. You're not withholding to make her chase. You just don't hand your focus to anyone who hasn't earned it. Your leadership stops being performance and becomes direction. You choose the place, the time, the pace, because you have standards for your own life. And she's either welcome to join or free to walk. Your emotional disruption stops feeling like game playing and starts feeling like real life, because you are a man with depth, variety, and unpredictability. You don't create novelty to keep her entertained. You live in novelty because you refuse to be boring to yourself. And your absence at the peak, that's not a ploy, that's your reality. You leave when you need to leave, because your schedule, your goals, your priorities aren't rearranged for anyone who hasn't proven they deserve it. The beauty and the danger of this mindset is that it flips the entire power dynamic without you having to push. She will feel it in how you look at her, how you pause before answering, how you end the night without dragging it out. She will feel that she's orbiting you, and she'll decide, without you ever saying it, that you're the man she has to win. And here's the final truth. The darkest trick is not what you do to her, it's what you stop doing to yourself. You stop selling yourself cheap. You stop explaining yourself to people who haven't earned the right to understand you. You stop needing her to choose you before you've chosen yourself. Because the moment you master that, every interaction tilts in your favor. She invests more. She works harder. She feels that charge every time she's around you. The charge that only happens when opposites collide. That's the current you've been looking for. Not the fake charm. Not the constant attention. Not the overcompensation. The polarity between a man who stands rooted in himself and a woman who can't help but lean in. So, you want the darkest trick. Here it is. Reverse the game. Make her work for your approval. Lead without apology. Break her patterns. Leave at the peak. And above all, live a life so full, so self-directed, that letting her in feels like an upgrade for you. Do that, and you'll never have to wonder if she's attracted to you. She'll be proving it, over and over, without even realizing she's doing it.